Conducting research in any discipline requires the use of sources. In this video, we want first to discuss the kinds of sources that you ought to be consulting when writing a theological research paper, as well as secondly, to provide you with strategies for identifying other sources for your research. For theology papers, there are three kinds of sources that you'll most frequently turn to. First, books and monographs. Secondly, peer-reviewed journals or other specialized articles. Or thirdly, doctoral theses and dissertations. When you're researching the main claim of your paper, you will likely interact with several books, which may include systematic theologies from various Christian traditions, collections of essays, or more specific works. Some works are narrowly focused on one specific topic or question. These books are also known as monographs. Often the most up-to-date research can be found in specialized journals, such as the Journal of Evangelical Theological Society, Bibliotheca Sacra, the Journal of Biblical Literature, the Evangelical Quarterly, the Westminster Theological Journal, the Journal of Spiritual Formation and Soul Care, or Vetus Testamentum. Make sure to locate the specific journal pertinent to your discipline. While there are a variety of sources you may utilize in your research, these sources usually fall into one of two categories, primary or secondary. Primary sources are first-hand accounts of an event or an idea. The chief source for theological inquiry is the Bible, but other kinds of sources might be considered primary as well. There are biographical journal entries, original manuscripts, and leading proponents of theological positions. For example, if your research involves a question regarding Martin Luther's theology of justification, an important primary source would be the Weimar edition of Luther's works. Some secondary sources provide high-level summaries of your topic, as well as help with bibliographic information for further research. These sorts of secondary sources include the Encyclopedia of Christianity, the New Dictionary of Theology, and Religion, Past and Present, Encyclopedia of Theology and Religion. If you're just beginning to research your topic and are trying to narrow your topic into a manageable question, you might begin by consulting the articles in these reference works. The best research papers are dependent upon primary sources and utilize secondary sources. Primary sources providing evidence for your thesis and research claims, and secondary sources showing scholarly interaction and an awareness of how others have asked and answered similar research questions as yours. You want to interact with original text and primary evidence to personally wrestle with the issues at stake, but also know the pulse of the discussion. Because there are so many potential sources for you to use in your paper, you also need to develop the skill of learning to identify those sources, which will be most helpful for your research needs. Here are 4 ways that you can begin to identify sources for your theology paper. First, utilize the LibGuide section of the library's website. This section includes research assistance and subject guides for a variety of topics, including systematic theology, Old Testament, and New Testament. This guide is further broken down according to the major subject areas of theology, such as the doctrine of God, the doctrine of sin, or the doctrine of the Holy Spirit. A second way to identify sources is to seek expert recommendations. Perhaps your course professor or Garrett Fellow has prepared a bibliography for the subject you are researching, or you might contact one of the library's research experts for suggestions of important sources on your topic. For main campus students, a third way to identify sources is to browse the reference area of the library located in the northwest corner of the library's first floor. You might also desire to browse the relevant sections on the second and third floors of the library. Finally, you might consult the periodical literature guides on the library's website. These guides contain summaries of the articles in biblical and theological studies. If you have questions about identifying sources, contact the library's research experts who will be glad to help you locate the best sources for your information needs.